Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth video in GSMA's Central Insights Unit's Frontier Tech series, where we chat with industry experts and practitioners to explore the opportunity to leverage frontier technologies for sustainable development. My name is Nigam Shahid, and I'm from the GSMA. If you don't know us, we are an industry organization, represent the telecoms and wider communications industry. I work for GSMA Mobile for Development, which is the GSMA's foundation arm, and we work with a range of development and donor partners to research and invest in innovative solutions that are technology enabled for sustainable development. We're very lucky to have with us today Leone Magliocchetti Lombi, who is an agricultural officer at the Food and Agriculture Organization. This is a UN organization working on food security with governments globally. Leone leads on the technical support provided to countries on sustainable horticulture and has over 15 years of international experience in development projects supporting smallholder farmers in rural areas of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And with that, I'd love to kick off. Hi, Leone. Thank you so much for joining us. As my first question, can you tell us a bit more about the work of the FAO linked to agriculture and food security? And then more specifically about how digital and in particular emerging technologies such as blockchain, AI, drones, and sensors are being explored for improvements in food security and agriculture. Where are you seeing some key opportunities linked to these technologies?
Hi, Nigam, and thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. So the FAO is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and its purpose is to support member countries worldwide at eradicating hunger and develop and support sound and sustainable food production systems. And when it comes to digital agriculture and technologies, of course, FAO has dedicated not one but two divisions, which are particularly concerned by all different aspects of technology and the digitalization of the agricultural processes. And in particular, we have one division, which is the Digital FAO and Agroinformatics division, plus the Office of Innovation. When it comes to different technologies, you mentioned a few of them, but let me say that first of all, FAO has identified 6 different levels for these technologies 6 different levels of support to the different aspects of agricultural production, which are the digital governance, first of all, related to food production, and the digital finance, supply chain management, market linkages, farm management and operations, and advisory and information services. And just to give you a few examples of where definitely there are promising application of these technologies, there will be huge benefit by AI, for example, and robotics. It's, for example, let me consider the advisory information services. You know, this is something quite recent where huge databases driven by artificial intelligence are able to support farmers and experts on the field at recognizing plants, pests, and diseases in a very quick manner. And of course, then those results can be supported by laboratories, but 95% of the times, those results are quite accurate. And if we talk about farm management operations, that's really the box where we can say that robotics, drones finds their application, supporting farmers at enhancing their productivity. And just let me give you a third example. If we consider market linkages, you know, marketplaces, smart applications able to get closer smallholders, producers, and consumers in the cities or in the rural areas. That's really where web services and digital payment mechanisms find their spots. And those are definitely promising for the very close future. They're already harvesting huge step and huge advancements in the agricultural sector.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that really broad and really interesting overview of how digital technologies are being considered at the FAO and the opportunities you see more broadly, especially in emerging tech. Today, we are here to discuss a very particular initiative, which is a pilot led by yourself on deploying IoT sensors to improve horticulture for small farmers. And this is a pilot in both Uzbekistan and Vietnam. So I guess as my first question is, what is the solution? What led you to develop the solution? And what are some of the challenges that you saw needed solving for in developing it?
Right, thanks. So this initiative took place within a large project which is called Smart Farming for Future Generation. And it's a project that focuses on vegetable value chain in greenhouses. And this is quite specific, and it's happening in two countries, as you mentioned, Vietnam and Uzbekistan. And the digital solution that we developed and started piloting is it's a basic IoT, Internet of Things schemes, where field sensors are installed in the greenhouses, measuring relevant environmental indicators like light intensity, temperature, air temperature, and air humidity, soil moisture, and then these sensors being connected to an input-output board with internet connectivity, they are sending raw data to the web. Now on the web, we have a few web services like databases and a few algorithms to evaluate this data. And then this is then the same system can be then interrogated by a mobile application that farmers can use. Mobile application, we also have the website, the desktop application, so that we can monitor what's going on. So why we felt like we had to develop it? Well, that we had a few reasons. First of all, it's a monitoring evaluation tool, right? Because the project is about disseminating good agricultural practices, which are which are expected to lead farmers to adopt and succeed in more sustainable and viable agricultural production. The greenhouses are a sort of ideal environment for that because, first of all, we can control climate, we can extend seasons, we can prevent pests and diseases using modern materials to cover the greenhouses. However, this comes with a challenge. Say it's a light day and the sun is warming up the greenhouse. It could be too much. It could be too much. It could be too hot. And for that, there are special air vents that allow ventilation. Now, if the farmers do that right, the plants will be always or most of the time in ideal conditions. But if something goes wrong, that would be just too much, and plants would suffer heat stress or water stress, such type of things. So first of all, let's say that there's a training component, but then this tool can support farmers in decision making. So this is the main thing. The main purpose for such setup is to support the decision making on level. When is it the ideal moment for irrigation? When it is the ideal time for opening the air ventilation, or the other way around? When is it getting cold so that it's better to close the air vents? Same goes for other horticultural operations, which are very important, like pollination, for example, in a greenhouse. Often we don't have, even if FAO is supporting it, the use of pollinators. But in some cases, this is not possible to use insect pollinators inside the greenhouses. This operation has to be done manually. It's labor intensive, and but it's really optimal only when we have a perfect combination of temperature and air humidity. So this system is able to inform the farmer about when it is the right time about running these operations. There's another aspect that we wanted to benchmark anyway, and this was the rate of adoption, or let's say the way farmers were relating with this technology. And this is also, of course, very much interesting because, as you mentioned, this is a pilot. We piloted this activity in about 30 greenhouses in the 2 different countries, and the results were very interesting.
Thank you so much. So it sounds really, really interesting and really, really useful as a solution for managing horticulture better, improving productivity, and kind of minimizing or reducing the workload, optimizing it for smallholder farmers. I'd love to hear about some of the impacts or some of the learnings from the pilot to date. This is in terms of potentially positive impacts to productivity or processes, but also in terms of farmer uptake of the technology. What are some of the learnings on that front?
Right. So let me start from the most, I'd say, the one that is often overlooked in agriculture, and this is the one that I call the forensic one. So sometimes in agriculture activities, of course, things can go wrong, and for example, plants don't grow the way we expect. We don't harvest the results we were expecting. So and often things can go very fast, like the day before plants were doing well, and then the following day plants are doing very badly. And this is what I call the forensic, like having sensors in the greenhouse can help farmers and field experts at trying to understand what happened. Because of course, as you know, plants cannot talk, but we can somehow get closer to what happened if we had historical data about what happened at environmental level. This could be the soil moisture, could be extreme humidity or temperature levels. It could be extreme cold. This is what happens once we, in Vietnam, we could not really get our mind around about what was happening in terms of plants that were growing but not developing proper flowers and fruits. And we had to go back to the historic series of the past month and a half to realize that there was not enough cumulative number of hours of heat to support the fertility of the flowers. So this is just an example, and this is often not enough stated. Then, of course, there is the day-by-day decision making, like ideal moments for irrigation. There are, of course, good practices like advices. It's always good to irrigate in the morning or at the evening, but is it really necessary to irrigate every day? No, because if you look at the soil moisture, you could probably decrease most of the time. And also in terms of volumes, often there is some sort of a practice or habit about irrigating with fixed volumes, whether here we could really use another indicator, which is the percentage of soil that is moist. And we know, I mean, this can be confronted by some thresholds. And this, of course, leads also to potentially to automation, because as you know, an IoT system can also be expanded to automation, and therefore you could have automatic irrigation as well as automatic environmental control.
Thank you. And sorry, no,
yeah,
just in terms of the farmer uptake as well, what has been that experience? And has that varied by context in Vietnam versus Uzbekistan?
Yeah, indeed. And this is one of those very important points in terms of uptake. We have to say that what I realized through the time is that probably farmers in Vietnam compared to those in Uzbekistan were equally, I'd say, skilled. But Vietnam was probably more market-oriented rather than Uzbekistan, which, I mean, the farmers in Uzbekistan, which we work with, are more a sort of diversifier of their income. So vegetable production in a greenhouse is not the sole occupation, while in Vietnam they were quite focused. And this is a crucial aspect for the adoption of such kind of technology. I mean, the Vietnamese farmers were definitely buyer and taker. They could see the benefits. They could see the way they were optimizing resources, in particular the temperature, and in particular the water. And because with water then goes also the fertilization. I didn't mention that, but fertigation. It's a process in which we use fertilizers directly soluted in water, and they could see through this mechanism they could save water and fertilizers for given the same production. And also the optimization of the use of the greenhouse as an environmental control system. They could really see the benefits, and they've been using this regularly. Uzbekistan it was a slightly different case. We should mention the fact that we, as user interface, we used a proper mobile application, and the literacy level probably, and also the digital literacy is also an element to consider. For Uzbekistan, we realized, and then later, also in collaboration with other colleagues, let me mention here the Digital Villages Initiative, which is another FAO initiative, which has the digitalization literacy at the core in the rural areas, at the core of its mission. We developed a different user interface just for Uzbekistan, which is based on the use of social media messenger. I don't know how to say it. I mean, anyway, it's a very known messaging application. So basically, you could use normal messages to inquiry the sensors in the greenhouse and receive the temperature, and also receive alerts via these messaging services. So while in Vietnam, the fact that we were using a separate dedicated mobile application, which is sending alerts triggered by thresholds, this was totally fine. So yeah, I mean, in the literature, we would say that proper study of the potential market, I mean, the profile of the user is of course centrally also, especially in this case.
Right. Thank you so much. That's, I think, a great insight there. Very much an important consideration, the local context and how, the same solutions uptake and usefulness, as well as user interface needs to be adapted to the context. As my final question to you, Leone, what do you see the opportunity more globally for this particular solution, and what is needed for scale?
Right. So the big opportunity I see here in terms of impact is the possibility of much more sustainable agricultural processes. The optimization cannot be reached without measuring, and the fact that sensors can be installed and be in field sensors. I mean, can be installed in field, open field, protected cultivation systems, and the farmers be constantly aware about what is happening and be somehow supported through their decision making. This is, I think, one of the best things that I want to keep and continue working on in the future. Let's think about how many farmers are using fertilizers today, water. Agriculture accounts for between 40 and 60% of potable water usage worldwide. So if we could impact on that by simply adopting measuring tools which are better connected and related to the users, of course, this is great. What is probably needed is to let this happen is two main things, I would say. One is what we call the enabling environment. Of course, these devices and sensors, in order to be connected, there must be the connectivity option available. These might be through data, cellular networks, could be through satellites, could be by Wi-Fi casted networks. Any solution is possible, but important is that there is an option. And just to share this information, what we found the easiest way in both situations was to use cellular data Wi-Fi hotspot, and then the sensor will connect to the Wi-Fi network that was casted by this hotspot. And in general, cellular data package are available in most countries, also in the rural area nowadays. And maybe what could be thought is a way of a little amount of data, but for over an extended length of time. And another aspect that, of course, is crucial is viable virtuous business models to let that are able to support farmers with the adoption, which is basically it is demonstration, technical support for the installation, and after-sales support. This is probably where, even though we know that technology is available, we are still lacking at its distribution. And this is probably because of being able to disseminating and spread millions, probably billions of devices worldwide, it is a big challenge. It is a big opportunity in terms of market, but the farmers market is a very particular market, and the logistics and the after-sale technical support is probably the biggest limitations. For this reason, I mean, not just FAO, but in general, also governments, the strategy, of course, is the one of providing proximity technical support. And probably this is what also potential suppliers or producers of such kind of technology should be thinking about. I hope that this was clear enough and put simple enough.
It was great. Thank you so much. Thank you. You really talked us through the challenges, the solutions, the opportunities that you see, and the relevance of context to the deployment, and painted a very clear picture for us of what really the kind of the power of IoT sensors and being able to closely measure the environment for much improved productivity. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how the solution scales, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to share this experience with us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.